So the Oklahoma prep agenda has not stopped for the Sooners. And if you've noticed over the last month or so, Oklahoma has been going after a lot of the in-state talent, not only in the 2024 class, but also in the 2025. And so we've got another athlete that they are in hot pursuit for that's committed to the competition. 4-star tight end Nate Roberts is currently on flip watch as he's committed to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and the Sooners are right there on their tail. So we've got to talk about that. But before we do that, for the uninitiated, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you for pulling up to the YouTube channel. Feel free to hit that like button as well as subscribe if you want to continuously see this content. We're talking a lot of OU football and college football in general as the season's coming up in less than 3 weeks, and I would love for you to join the ride. But we need to dive right into Nate Roberts. We've got to look at his measurables as well as the film because Nate is one of those athletes that the Sooners cannot allow out of this state, especially a 4-star athlete that's considered in the top 150 players in the country. So Joe John Finley is doing his thing as always, trying to bring in a second tight end similar to what he did with Devon Mitchell, the 2024 tight end that committed at the beginning of July, who was actually part of the 2025 class, but is reclassifying to play in 2024. And it's also fascinating how these 2025 athletes have decided that, no, we're going to get our names in the hat now instead of waiting until next year when commitments usually come down the line, because we all know that the NCAA rules are going to change here in the near future. And we'll talk about those rules in another video. But let's dive into Nate Roberts' film as well as those measurables. That way you can see why the Sooners are going after him. As you all know, Nate is not a small guy, 6'4", roughly 225 pounds. As a, junior in high school, he is considered a consensus top 50 player in the country. On3 has him at about 134. 247 has him at 110 on the composite, but he's listed at 61st for them. So they have him rated the highest, with On3 having the lowest at 246 in the country. But he is really the consensus number 2 player in the state of Oklahoma, composite number 3. So there's a lot of debate on if he's the best in the state, if he's not, but he's up there as one of the better players in the country. And just looking at the measurables overall for him, you can totally see why he's one of those players that you can't miss on. Oklahoma, you've got to snatch up him as a player, and he's right behind CJ Nixon, who out of Weatherford, who's considered the top player in Oklahoma for the state. But also, if you look up, Jay Nickens exists, and he's one of those players too. But Nate Roberts decided that he wanted to commit to Notre Dame back in June. He made visits in April and May and April and June or whatnot as expected. And, June 17th, he popped out the commitment graphic through Hayes Fawcett over at On3, and boom, there you go. He is committed. We thought that, Notre Dame's got him. He's probably out. His brother Jake plays at Baylor, and so because of that, you're like, well, he's probably going to be, pretty much done. But nah, the Sooners ain't stopped their pursuit. And so even though we saw in June that he committed to Notre Dame, he's also spent some time with some 2025 recruits for Oklahoma. At the end of July, there was a picture posted by Kevin Sperry, the 2025 quarterback commit to the Sooners. He committed back in early February, and he was working out with Nate as well as Elijah Thomas out of Chakotah, another 2025 commit for Oklahoma. And so you see Nate with both of them. You're like, oh, I wonder what's going on there. And if I'm correct, Nate was floating around during the Michael Patterson McDonald commitment. I'm just going to say, I don't know if it was him or not. All I'm saying is we saw some Washington Warrior shorts floating around in the area. And I don't know. That could mean something, might not mean something. I'm not speculating, but at the same time, this man has spent some time with the staff. So a crystal ball came down in August, around the 10th, which was 2 days ago, that there's potential flip for our guy, Nate Roberts. And it was from Josh over at Rivals. And it was from Josh over there at On 3 pointing out that he thinks there's a good chance that he will flip. And the conversations began. There's a few articles that have come down the line from like Sooner Wire as well as On 3 that was written by Josh kind of explaining why he sees a flip, because Oklahoma never stopped their pursuit. And as we pull up this film, you're watching it, you see why. Like, you see why they would not pass on him. I mean, he's lined up as a wide out, as a slot. He's catching passes and he's gone. Like, he's fast enough. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He gets it at tight end. And Joe John Finley can grab him next to Devon Mitchell. Think about that. This type of an athlete with Devon Mitchell, these two tight ends in the SEC. Ooh, my goodness. I mean, look at him coming off the line. So he can come off the line as a tight end like you're supposed to, catch it across the middle, which you always want a guy that can catch across the middle, especially when you have Jackson Arnold throwing the ball. And then you can throw jump balls to him. He's 6'4", and he'll probably be closer to 240 by the time he gets to Norman if they can pull off this flip. Man, he can block. And he can tackle. So, I mean, I'm seeing a little Mark Andrews here, just enough speed and strength to not only block, but also catch passes and go. Man, Oklahoma is infamous for bringing some pretty solid tight ends. I mean, from Jermaine Grisham down to Mark Andrews. We even seen Blake Bell, who's doing it for the Chiefs now. We can definitely capitalize with a guy of this size and stature. Like I said, he can block and he can catch. So Oklahoma's going to be in heavy pursuit because he's one of those players in state you got to win. And so thinking about that, as we talked about it, there's a lot of 2025 kids already committing. And so, as mentioned ad nauseum, there's going to be a change in the rules when it comes to how large a class you can bring in. And so I'm anticipating these 25s are looking at things and saying, I feel that we're probably going to go ahead and get those commitments now so that they can have their spots lined up come the 2025 cycle, since we don't know what things look like. But outside of that, look at this man block. Y'all should be excited. So you add him potentially, you add Elijah Thomas, you got Jaden Nickens, you've got Kevin Sperry, Kamori Moore. I mean, this 25 class is already shaping out, and we haven't even started the 2023 season. Man, this is a reason to be excited, especially as the talent in Oklahoma is getting better, because, you know, I was told by Colin Cowherd that Oklahoma wasn't producing much talent, and it looks like we're producing a lot of top 200 players in the country. Sounds like we're doing something right here, right? I mean, just saying. We're going after players, Texas. We're getting Oklahoma ones. But, you know, whatever. Some people say that we don't have talent here in the state. So that right there is Nate Roberts. Take a gander. Holla at your boy. Hop in the comments. Let me know what's your thoughts. How you feeling about this athlete coming to the Sooners? Do you see Oklahoma winning this battle? Do you think we can make the flip happen? How badly do you want him? I'm going to put his socials are in the comment in the description below. Get down there, click through, go to his Twitter account, X account, whatever they want to call themselves. Their Twitter for me, and they'll be Twitter forever. Go hit his profile and let him know that he needs to come and stay in the state, especially since he's in Washington, Oklahoma, which is roughly 15 to 20 minutes away from Norman. He's right there. So we need to tell him, come on and stay close to home. And then we can tell other players that they need to leave wherever they live so they can come to Norman. We don't need them staying close to home. We need them to come here. So let me know your thoughts. Hop in the comments as well. If you've made it this far, hit that like button, and you're new to the channel, subscribe. We would love to have you join this family. We're growing. We're keeping the content rolling. You're going to get a lot more content over the next few days. We go live on Sundays. If you haven't seen that, Sundays, 6 p.m. Central Time. We do go live, and we'd love to have you join us. And so YouTube says watch one of these videos. Highly recommend it because, of course, I curated for you. We'll talk soon. Peace.